20-something brahmacharis down to 1 in half a year or something. So they wanted to get it kind of moving again, and they talked with Radhanath Swami, because he has some goodwill towards New York. It's where the movement started, and so it's, can you please send some brahmacharis from Chaupati just to get things moving? And they tried, but nobody wanted to go, because they were afraid of what was going to happen in New York, because they know that Maya is just everywhere, and there's just absolutely no limit. It's just everything goes, anything goes. And finally they found 2 who would, okay, we're going to go and we're going to try and get it rolling again. And after half a year, one of them was so heavily in Maya, he wanted to get married to this Western woman, and they had to drag him back to Chaupati and just isolate him there. So now there's only one guy left, and he's an amazing devotee, and he's completely fixed up and transcendental, so he can do it. The point being that if you look at it from a material perspective, that advanced philosophy, very elaborate logical arguments, or very elaborate paraphernalia for the puja worship, or whatever it is, that's not the devotion. If you have that capacity, then you can put your devotion there. But actually, just going for it, whether you're qualified or not, that's the highest. That's what the gopis are doing. They got their bottom skirt on the top and the top on the bottom, and if Krishna wants to have his head cooled, they put their feet on his head. They don't care if they're going to hell, that's what he wants. So it has nothing, when they use philosophy, it's just about teasing each other. They don't use philosophy as like we use philosophy. We use philosophy because we're in Maya. So we use philosophy to get out of Maya, or I should say Mahamaya, because the gopis, they're so heavily conditioned by Yoga Maya that they don't care about that. They just, if they can tease Krishna with using some philosophy, they will, use Varnashram. Are you a Kshatriya or a Vaishya? I can't really figure it out. You're kind of a weirdo, right? So like that, they can tease him, because one minute he's in, Raj, and then he goes to Dwarka and apparently changes ashram, So they use these things to kind of have fun, but we use it to change our behavior, actually, instead of strengthening it, right? Because the way we want to have fun is not actually very funny. It's actually illusion. It actually doesn't work. So that's why we have to use the philosophy to get out of that way of thinking, so we can see clearly. But when that has happened, then we have to let go of it again, right? Because the tendency is we just become attached to whatever it is we're doing. Whatever you do, you get attached to it. That's just how the mind works. So if you work with a material element in some way, and you forget to make this connection to Krishna that we do in the prayers, then you just get attached to that thing. So you can be a very senior devotee, and you can have been around for 50 years and whatever, but if you don't properly connect with Krishna, it still becomes Maya. Even though it sounds really good, or even though you know tons of slokas or whatever it is, it's still Maya, because you're attached to the thing instead of the purpose of the thing. The purpose of the thing is to please Krishna, regardless of the thing or whatever it is, situation you are. If it's pleasing to Krishna, it has value. If it's not pleasing to Krishna, or if you're not thinking of Krishna, no value, zero value. It doesn't matter if the paraphernalia or the situation is like according to Vaishnava principles or something like that. Doesn't matter. It's still demonic. Basically, if you really want to get very blunt about it, And at the same time, if you're trying to do it for Krishna, it's glorious. That's what also Prabhupada mentions here in the purport. The Lord is always glorious, whether the devotee glorifies him or not. But if the devotee engages in glorifying the Lord, the devotee himself automatically becomes glorious. Because all qualities come from Krishna. So if we engage with Krishna, then we take on those qualities. So intelligence is there, beauty is there, and it's glorious, you know. Whereas if we don't, it's just useless. It's just absolutely useless. So externals are secondary, right? It's not about the externals, like Maharaj also was pointing out, that if we think that the externals make the devotee, then then we got it wrong. Actually, devotional service is a mood. It's a mood of devotion. So you can be a Christian devotee, you can be a Muslim devotee, being an atheistic devotee is probably not going to happen. But it doesn't really matter what dogma you ascribe to. I mean, if you have the devotional mood. Now, having said that, it is still a fact that if you look at Bhagavatam, it is the perfect literature for becoming a devotee. Whereas the Bible may point you in the same direction, but if we're just being honest, it doesn't have that same potency. It just does not. Even though it has, it's an authoritative book, and Jesus Christ was a completely self-realized soul in the Bhagavad, according to Prabhupada. So we are completely following Christ. Unfortunately, some of the scriptures have been kind of modified. So the point being that the externals or the secondary, like the books or the dress, they may be secondary, but it's not like they don't matter. Because, okay, let's take the dress. This dress is inherently somewhat in the mode of goodness, at least if I washed it, right? Because it's simple and there's no logos on it, you know. I'm not promoting some soft drink or something by sitting here with this. You could, compared to a t-shirt, you could have some logo on it, right? So it's that like that, it's mode of goodness. It's just square pieces of cloth, so it's very easy to keep clean. And you can see that it works because everybody is affected by the modes. So pretty much everyone will appreciate the mode of goodness. So I can walk around anywhere like this and be appreciated. I've never had any negative response, except, like we were saying the other day, at a Western university or in a heavily Muslim-dominated country, because they just have a dress code there and they just don't. Having said that, I know that Mahavishnu Swami, when he goes traveling, he goes to Dubai and he comes in full sannyas dress with his accordion, and he just does Harinam in the airport, and all the Muslim employers there, they think it's great because he's just so far out with his hat and everything, that he's just so non-confrontational that he can do that. They don't mind it. They think it's because he's so funny. So he just comes out of the plane playing the accordion, and everybody's like, hey, he's coming, and they're running, and he actually does Harinam in Dubai airport in full sannyas clothes. You'd think that, it's actually against the law to do it, but he can do it anyway because he just has that adhikar, you know. So the point is that this is actually an appreciated dress. The idea that people frown upon it or think that we're weirdos, they don't. Just yesterday I was giving class for the Copenhagen Free Divers Club, like 25 of the best free divers in Denmark. We were talking about the subtle body, how you meditate and concentrate and focus your stuff like that. And I come like this and they think it's great. So I start out by saying that, actually what I'm going to say is not really dependent on my dress, but I know that you've been told that a monk was supposed to come, so I thought that, I'd give you a show for it. And they were laughing and they think it's great, and it's authentic. They believe me because I'm sitting there. Clearly I'm a monk, I'm not one of them, so they listen because I am different. That's the point. As long as I'm comfortable with it, then it's okay. If I'm uncomfortable, then they become uncomfortable, regardless of why I'm uncomfortable. But as long as I'm comfortable, they think it's great. Because I am different. That means maybe he does have something to say that nobody else can say. If I look exactly like them, it's like, yeah, he has his opinion, I have my opinion, you know. But they are actually listening, and actually, okay, just now we are on that topic. I think they're going to come on Tuesday for a Japa seminar. So if we can do something for them, that would be nice. Anyway, we can talk. So the point is that the secondary is secondary. It's all about the devotion as the mood of devotion. But when you have that mood of devotion, you'd want to be most effective, right? So anything that's in the mode of goodness would work better than something that's in the mode of passion or mode of ignorance. So if you're a punk rocker, you can offer that to Krishna, but it just works better if you're not, because punk rockers have a tendency to drink and be kind of rowdy, and it's not really what Krishna likes. That mood is not really what Krishna likes. If you're super attached to that, okay, then that's what you offer, because we're all sinful. I mean, by complete Vedic standards, if we go through Hari Bhakti Vilas, I'm Muchi sitting here, even though I'm on the Vyasa-san. You know, we're all at some level. It's not like we're completely transcendental with our conditioning. So whatever we have, we offer that. But if we want to offer with love, that would mean we want to offer what's best for Krishna, not what's best for me. So like, if I had a wife and she had a birthday, I wouldn't give her a set of tools. I mean, maybe it will go really well with something I'm building in the garage, but I would give her something she would appreciate, right? So, sari, whatever, something. So in the same way, okay, I have my conditioning, that's okay, but if I really want to please Krishna, I would want to offer something to him that he likes. So I walk around like this, because that's just what I've been told by the authorities. It makes sense, it's simple, and it's just everybody appreciates. You know, people honk their horn on the street when they drive by me and wave. Never met them before. You know, so it works. It's universal. I was in a bus from New York to Miami earlier this year, and this is like Greyhound bus, and this is some rowdy people. These are people that, this is like rednecks. You know, really the bottom of the American society, the bottom. You know, but socially. In social position, all of them, they appreciated, and I got some good friends out of it. There was a guy, he was a murderer. He was confessing his murder to me, and I'm such a sinful man, and oh Lord, have mercy, and everything. And he was just completely pouring his heart out. Why? Because I was sitting in this dress. If I was sitting in a flannel shirt with some hat on or a baseball cap or something, he would not even approach me. Why is he approaching me? Because the mode of goodness. He doesn't know it's the mode of goodness, he doesn't know philosophy, but it is the mode of goodness, and it works. It's like, that's how reality works. It doesn't matter if you understand it or not, it works like that. If you go to the gym and you run on the treadmill, you will get in better shape. It doesn't matter if you know why, it just works like that. So the same way with the mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, they work like that whether you know it or not. If you drink, you will become ill. If you don't, you will not have that problem. It's just, it doesn't matter if you know what's going on, if you know how the liver works or something, that's just how it works. So if we want to choose what to wear, we should take that into consideration. That if you take jeans and a t-shirt, it comes from the mode of passion. That's where it comes from. So that mode will be imbued with it. So it will be less universal, right? If we say, oh, Western dress is fine. Okay, it's fine, but what Western dress? If you look around in Copenhagen, people don't look the same. And if I choose hip-hopper, or gangbanger style with the pants down by the knees and everything, 80% of people in Copenhagen, they will not appreciate it. They will not listen to what I have to say if I go around like that. So I could use the punk rocker like before. Maybe 90% will not appreciate it. Maybe 10% will think, oh, that's kind of funky, But 90% will not appreciate it. So I can use dress casual, like the shirt and the some kind of, dress casual pants and a nice haircut. But what about the funky young people who are looking for an alternative because they know they're being brainwashed by the media, they know they're being manipulated by the politicians? They will not appreciate that dress because it's just too boring. If I wear this, they will all appreciate, all of them. So that's the thing, that we have to be real about what it is we're doing. We can do whatever we want and offer that to Krishna. Yes, we can. But why not go for the thing that works, right? So on one level, it's not about the externals. It's not. It's about the mood of devotion. If we offer a mood of devotion to Krishna, he will appreciate. If we just offer karma kanda, if we just offer mode of passion dressed up as devotional service, he will not appreciate. He will give a little bit of result just for following the rules, because the rules are also Krishna. It's indirectly Krishna, it's impersonal Krishna, but he made the rules, so if we're following them, we will get results. Like atheistic businessman, he follows the rules of economics, paka, like more paka than we do. And so he gets rich. He doesn't get happiness because he doesn't connect with Krishna, so he's still on his fourth marriage, he's still drinking the whiskey every evening, and it's still not working out because all his co-workers hate him and all his friends just like him because he's rich. And it's just a mess. But he does become rich. If that's what he wants and he follows the rules, he will get the result. But that's the karma kanda. That's not what we are in for. We're in for the bhakti. We're in for the devotion. That's the full thing. And that works every time. So that means you can be whoever you want to be. If you're poor, you're happy. If you're rich, you're happy. If you're a man, you're happy. If you're a woman, you're happy. It doesn't matter because you've connected with Krishna. Krishna is happiness. So it's unlimited. You have unlimited supply of happiness at your disposal. And, so you can do anything. So then the externals, because when you have that connection, the externals are just tools. You're not identifying with the externals. Like some people, they want to fit in. Some people want to stand out. I've always dressed funny. Even before I was devotee, I was dressing in interesting ways. So we have that conditioning. But when you've connected to Krishna, that just becomes a tool. It just becomes, how do I engage this conditioning most effectively? So we have to work with primary and secondary. Primary is the devotion, secondary is the tools that we use to express that devotion. So it's not that the secondary should take prominence, but we should also not neglect it. And if we can not identify with the secondary, with all the paraphernalia, with however we arrange our life, then we can just use it as a tool. So instead of, say I'm a man and I have kind of an intellectual kind of conditioning, so I do this. It works good. If I become like a businessman and offer, to give donations to the temple, it would go really bad because I'm very bad with money. I'm just not good with it. So why would I do that? So I just do this because it works better. So then the problems I have to deal with is sometimes people don't agree with what I have to say, and that's just, there's always something. But if I would go into like raising funds for the temple or becoming temple president or something, that would be so much against my nature that it would be horrible for everyone. It would not, like, now people complain it's a problem for me, it's not really a problem for anyone else. But if I do something that's not my nature, it will be horrible for everyone because the results will just be bad. So we have to acknowledge what our nature is and then work with that, right? Often the idea, we're devotees, we can do whatever we want, we can do anything or something, it's misunderstood. That, I'll just do whatever my mind tells me or whatever I feel like. No, we're devotees, we can do whatever we want, so we might as well do our duty because it doesn't matter. It's not the activity that makes us happy, it's the offering the activity to Krishna, that's what makes us happy. So rather than going against our nature, we should work with it. So there's so many ideas about, how to modernize Krishna consciousness. Modernizing Krishna consciousness means you haven't actually understood what it is. Because Krishna consciousness is transcendental. It's the only thing that's always working right now. Everything and anything else it will come out of fashion, or it will be under the jurisdiction of time, place and circumstances. Like we were talking about the dress before. You choose Western dress, what is that? You choose one variation, the others will not appreciate. Because the whole thing about being a mundaner is that you want to separate yourself from the crowd while at the same time maintaining an identity, right? So that's why they have all this punk, hip-hop, rock, whatever, variations. So it doesn't really matter. I'm musing a little bit now about how in the late 80s you had to have holes in your jeans. That was really fashionable. That was just, you were so with it if you had holes in your jeans. Then followed 25 years of just don't have holes in your jeans. You look like a slob. You look like a bum. And now I'm seeing all the young girls, they have holes in their jeans again, right? So that's just what happens. We think it's new, but it's just the same old chewing the tube that just keeps. It's like looking at a washing machine. Oh, that's their red sock again, It looks always new, but it's just the same thing. So you have, a lot of pockets, no pockets, leathers in, leathers out, and holes in the jeans, no holes in the jeans. And it's just all these things just go in cycles. And it looks like, okay, wide tie, narrow tie. It looks like it's always new because you have a few different parameters. But it's just the same thing. And that means that if you connect with Krishna through that, you have to change your devotional service all the time also to get with it. You have to actually spend a lot of resources trying to be fashionable. It's actually very difficult to be fashionable because you have to be just on the cutting edge. But it's so easy to just move one step too far and then you just become a weirdo and it's like, what are you doing? Or what do you look like? And if you just relax a little too much, you're just so last season. Because you have 4 seasons in a year. And so it's hard work. That's why you see people who are very fashionable, they're neurotic like anything. Because they can't go outside of their house unless they spend 2 hours getting ready first. Because it's like, oh, I heard one guy saying, I can't wear Louis Vuitton with Gucci. It's like, my God, I wear this all the time. This is how I look. I don't even look in the mirror because it's just the same thing you'll see every single time. It means that you can get ready and get out the door pretty quickly. It's just easier. So the idea of connecting with people on the premise of the material energy, they are in illusion, they are in the material energy, they are identifying with it. But the idea that we need to get into that in order to pull them out, I personally very much disagree with that. And I have personal experience, I'm sure you also have personal experience, that you don't need that. You just need to stand outside of the material energy and make them aware of that. Then they will naturally come to you. Right? Like these free divers yesterday. They were completely amazed at how it works, and I had a little help from Super Soul also. I used some examples that just worked extremely well. There was one guy, he was asking, how do you use meditation to, like when you get out of the water, you have to lower your heart rate and lower your breath quickly, just to get the system in balance. And so I used the example, it's like if you meditate, your consciousness can become like a laser instead of like just a ceiling light. So you can point it at a specific point and just focus on that without anything else like insurances and what's the wife doing and stuff. Only focus on that. So if you just focus that on the heart and the breath, then you can use all your conscious energy on just lowering the heart rate and slowing down the breath, without thinking of anything else. So you'll be more effective in doing that. Now it turned out that this guy, he had a company that had invented a special type of laser. So for him it was like, wow, where did that example come from? I had no idea he had that job, but it's just like sometimes when you're connected, it's just these things happen, you know. So it works really well. So if you just make sure that you're not part of it, you know, not that you, see, that's the thing. If we demonize the material world, that's also material conditioning. Does that make sense? If we hate it or that is because we're still attached. Just be above it, you know. That's what it actually means. Higher state of consciousness means you're just above it. It's like if someone, and we're automatically above most of it, you know. When, like, there was a general election in Denmark last year. Was it last year or this year?
A couple months ago.
Oh, a couple of months ago. Okay. But some people that I have contact with, I'm trying to preach to here in Denmark, they're like, horrible, they're very, very affected by it. I'm not affected by it because I know that it doesn't really matter who you put in charge. If they're not a devotee, they're a nonsense, you know, so it doesn't affect me. And the way I live my life, it's not really a big thing. And I'm sure most of you are also a little bit, you know, or let's say the national Danish soccer league, football league, it's not really a thing that really gets our juices flowing, you know, but some others, they're really into it. But, so if we can just try and be above it, all the material, then people will find us very attractive. Because everybody wants to be happy, everybody wants peace. And if we just have that, they will come to us, you know. I mean, people, there was an example from Shiram Swami actually, I heard. He was talking also about the press, and he was saying that actually in Denmark, people will cross the street to go and say what's up to a devotee if they see him in devotee and shadow. I've tried that, not in Denmark but in London, that people, they just come running when you walk around like this, because you're showing that I'm not a part of this circus. And everybody knows it's a circus, at least if you know, I mean, especially if you live in the big city, you know it's like, but you just don't have the alternative. What else am I going to do, you know? So if you just walk down the street completely confident and self-satisfied, that, you know, or we should say Krishna satisfied, because Krishna is self-satisfied, and if we're in connection with Krishna, then that satisfaction will just fill us up, right? Then people will be attracted. They will be interested in what we have to say. That's what Krishna consciousness is. Not, see, leaders, we're leaders. We have something the other guys don't have. Leaders don't fit in. Followers fit in, you know. We're not following them. They're going to learn something from us, so we don't have to fit in. That's the beauty of it. We don't have to prove anything. We don't have to, you know, we just have to share what we have, because we've found something that makes us profoundly happy, and that can actually work. I mean, actually work long term. And what's the most natural thing when you have that? You want to share it. Because it's unlimited. It's free and it's unlimited and it's good. So why not share it, you know? That's the move. If we have that move, it works. It works. There's no doubt about it. It doesn't matter where you are. Even in Denmark, the toughest place on the planet, as far as I know, it works. You know? So how long do we keep going?
I think we're supposed to stop now.
Okay.
The alarm here.
Oh, that's the, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. How are you saying? We have some comments, but anyway.
Comments? Yeah.
Sure. No, we take the prasad.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Radha Bhagavati.
Free divers, do they drive with just dive like that?
Yeah, no oxygen or anything.
That was my main question.
Yeah. They're far out.